Imagine this. You're on a boat, cruising through the Indian Ocean. The sun is out, the water is crystal clear, and in the distance, you spot an island. Green, dense, beautiful, like something straight out of a movie. But as you get closer, arrows start flying at you. That's North Sentinel Island, an island roughly the size of Manhattan, sitting in the Bay of Bengal. And the people who live there want you, and everyone else, dead the moment you get close. This is the story of the most isolated and dangerous island on the planet, and why no one is ever allowed to set foot on it. North Sentinel Island is part of the Andaman archipelago, a chain of islands belonging to India in the Bay of Bengal. The island itself isn't massive, about 8 kilometers long, 7 kilometers wide, roughly 60 square kilometers in total. But what makes it extraordinary isn't its size, it's its people. The Sentinelese, one of the last completely uncontacted tribes on Earth. They've lived on this island for an estimated 60,000 years. 60,000 years. That's older than most civilizations we even know of. Nobody knows what they call themselves. Nobody knows what their language sounds like. We don't even know how many of them there are. Estimates range wildly from 50 to 500 people. India's 2011 census listed 15 residents, but the Times of India described that number as a wild guess. What we do know? They want to be left alone, and they make that very clear with bows and arrows. Let's walk through the history of people who thought, how bad can it be? 1867. An Indian merchant ship, the Nineveh, runs aground on a reef near the island. 106 survivors make it to the beach and are immediately attacked by the Sentinelese. They manage to fight back and are eventually rescued by the British Navy. Barely. 1880. British colonial officer Maurice Vidal Portman decides he wants to study the Sentinelese. He arrives with an armed group. The islanders flee into the jungle. After days of searching, his men manage to capture 6 people, an elderly couple and 4 children. They're taken to Port Blair. The elderly couple dies almost immediately from diseases their immune systems had never encountered. The children are sent back to the island with gifts as some sort of apology. What happened to the tribe after that? Nobody knows. 1896. The body of an escaped convict is found on the beach of North Sentinel Island. Shot through with arrows. Throat cut. 2006. 2 Indian fishermen, Sundar Raj and Pandit Tiwari, illegally anchor near the island to sleep after a night of poaching. Their boat breaks loose and drifts ashore. They're killed. The Indian government sends a helicopter to recover the bodies, but every time it approaches, it's driven back by a hail of arrows. The bodies are never retrieved. 2018. And then there's John Allen Chow, a 26-year-old American missionary who was convinced God had called him to bring Christianity to the Sentinelese. He pays local fishermen to take him close to the island. He tries multiple times to make contact. Every single time, he's chased away with arrows. The last time the fishermen see him, he's standing on the beach, waving them off. Then he's gone. His body is later spotted from a distance, buried in the sand by the islanders themselves. The Indian government decides, we are not sending anyone to recover his body. Too dangerous. And frankly, Chow broke the law, because approaching this island is strictly illegal. And that's not an exaggeration. India has established a full exclusion zone of 5 nautical miles, nearly 9 kilometers, around the island. The Indian Navy actively patrols the area. The law has been in place since 1956. It is illegal to approach the island, photograph it, or land on it. Penalty: imprisonment. But here's the detail that really sticks with me. The Indian government has officially decided that the Sentinelese will not be prosecuted if they kill an intruder. They have every legal right to defend themselves, fully recognized under Indian law. And that's not just a symbolic gesture. It has a very specific, logical reason behind it. Because here's where the story flips. The danger isn't just from them. The danger is also to them. The Sentinelese have grown up in total isolation. Their immune systems have never been exposed to the diseases we deal with every day. The common cold, measles, chickenpox, the flu. For us, those are inconveniences. For the Sentinelese, they could be fatal. We've seen this happen before. When European colonizers first made contact with indigenous peoples in the Americas and Australia, entire communities were wiped out by diseases their bodies had never encountered. The same risk exists here. If a group of tourists landed on that island tomorrow, it could mark the end of a people that has survived for 60,000 years. That's what makes protecting this island not just a legal matter, but a deeply moral one. And yet, people still try. In March 2025, a Ukrainian social media influencer illegally landed on the island for just a few minutes. Why? For content. For views. He left behind a can of Coca-Cola and a coconut as offerings to the Sentinelese. He didn't see anyone. He was arrested shortly after by Indian authorities. The reaction from researchers and activists was immediate. This was reckless, dangerous, and deeply irresponsible. A common cold virus clinging to his clothes could theoretically have triggered an epidemic among people with zero immunity. And it's not just influencers. The case of John Chow in 2018 sparked a global debate. Was he a brave missionary or someone who endangered an entire civilization for his own beliefs? Most experts land firmly on the second answer. And here's what I find the most fascinating part of this whole story. Despite everything, we know almost nothing about them. We don't know their language. We don't know their social structure. We don't know their rituals, their beliefs, or their stories. We have never heard them speak. What little we do know comes from long-distance observations by boat. They hunt and fish. They use narrow outrigger canoes in the shallow lagoons around the island. They make weapons partly from metal salvaged from shipwrecks on the surrounding reefs. They live in small groups, in open-sided huts deep in the forest. And despite being described in the media as Stone Age, that's not really fair. They've adapted over tens of thousands of years. They chose this life. Their island remains completely covered in dense rainforest. No deforestation, no pollution. In many ways, they're doing better than we are. From what observers can see from a distance, the Sentinelese look healthy, strong, and thriving. There are children. There are pregnant women. The tribe continues. So what do we take from all of this? North Sentinel Island is one of the last places on Earth where humans are living entirely on their own terms, disconnected from the internet, from governments, from everything we consider modern life. And they've been doing it for 60,000 years. They don't want our help. They don't want our contact. They don't want our coconuts or our Coca-Cola. Maybe the most respectful thing we can do, the most human thing we can do, is simply leave them alone. If you found this video interesting, make sure to like and subscribe. I already made a video about Snake Island in Brazil, another one of the world's most dangerous islands. That one's linked right here. And next time, we're covering another island with a story you won't believe. See you in the next one.